Hello, this is Ben Smith with North Star Planning. I'm the principal planner here, and I'm also on the board of GrowSmart Maine. GrowSmart Maine is a group that has been working in the planning arena for many years in Maine, and I'd like to talk about a concept that GrowSmart put forward and introduced to the state several years ago. It's really relevant to communities that are facing growth pressure and changes related to growth pressure around the loss of rural character. In particular, this is a useful tool for more rural communities as opposed to maybe more suburban communities that are facing growth pressure. But I think that the concept here is really worth an introduction that could be valuable to planners all over the state. So let me just share a couple PowerPoint slides and introduce the topic of density as a regulatory mechanism rather than just minimum lot size alone. So today, virtually the only tool that many communities use or have available to them is regulating new development based on lot size. And that is different than the concept of density. Lots of times people think of cities and more built up urban areas when they think of density, but density applies no matter where you are, even in very rural communities. Density is a concept of units per area. Lot size is an area per dwelling unit. Think of density as number of units per what you want to measure. Fish per mile of stream is a fun one. Jobs per acre is another one that's relevant to economic development. When it comes to land use, it's really about dwellings per unit of land. Lots of times, you think of dwellings per acre. Relatively high density for Maine would be 10 to 15 dwelling units per acre. More typical lower density development in many rural communities across the state, it would be more along the lines of 1 dwelling unit per 2 or 5 or 10 acres. Lot size looks at it through a zoning standpoint, number of acres required for every new home. Auburn has a very, I would say, leading on the restrictive end, 10 acres per every new home in their agriculture zone. A lot of communities around the state are looking at maybe 2-acre zones. For every 2 acres you have, you can build a house. Density looks at it again as the number of units per area. The units in this case are beans, the area is my table. So this is 200 beans per table. This is also 200 beans per table. This is also 200 beans per table. And I think you're starting to get the sense that it's really only partially about the overall number of beans, and it's also in large part how those are arranged on the table, or in our case as planners, how you arrange those homes on the land. There are a number of ways to do that, and we'll talk about those perhaps going forward, but density in this case is lower. But what you'll see is that there's still not a lot of big open spaces left on this table because these beans are spread over the area. Not just about the numbers, it's about how they're organized. So to illustrate that point, property size per minimum lot area is how many communities across the state do it. An alternative would be to look at maximum net residential density and set a total number of lots, very similar to minimum lot size today. But what's new is this maximum lot size concept. It limits the size of new lots so that you're retaining larger blocks of land. And of course, you do need to plan for safety around water supply and wastewater disposal. The example here is 20 acres of land. If you have 2-acre lots, you're going to end up with 10 houses on that lot eventually. May not happen all at once, or it could happen in a subdivision in relatively short order. However, this is looking at a minimum lot size of 2 acres. This example is looking at the same density, just arranging them differently on the land using this concept of a maximum lot size. So if we go back to this example, 2 acres. Every house is on a 2-acre piece of land. In this example, same number of houses, they're just on 1 acre each. So that leaves about half the property open as open space. In this example, it's a 5-acre minimum lot size. That may be an attractive alternative to communities looking to preserve open space and rural character. However, if you don't deal with density or maximum lot sizes, you're going to end up potentially with this kind of example where the housing that is built still takes up that entire 20-acre piece. Everyone's just got a bigger backyard. In this example where you have a maximum lot size, the new lots are smaller, and that leaves more open land that can be viewed from the roadway. It still has good open space, rural character, but it's also potentially, in this example, usable land as hay fields, pasture, or woodlot going forward. So that is essentially the concept. And what we want to leave you with is the idea that if you want to explore these ideas further, please contact GrowSmart Maine. Happy to be a resource for planners in Maine and around the region. Thank you.